Good evening. Welcome to Let Me Say This, the podcast. I'm Tisha Tyler, your host. My guest this evening, I'm so excited about her, a wonderful young woman who has really stepped out on faith and is going for her dream. Ambar Bayonet is the founder and CEO of Bayone luxury scarves and swimwear. And I'm actually wearing one of her scarves right now. I received it as a gift, and I can attest that it is absolutely top quality. I mean, seriously, I want to show you this because, I do product reviews when I'm getting a product from small business owners, and I really want to show you this. It's 100% silk, a beautiful pattern and design, very large in size, which is good as a woman when you're looking for a scarf. You don't want something that's really rinky dink or something that is scratchy or doesn't feel well. And I have to tell you, her product is top notch. So congratulations, Amber. You've done a great
Thank
job
you.
in that regard. So let me ask you this. You're 24. You didn't start out thinking that you wanted to be a designer, but in the midst of a pandemic, you launched a luxury swimsuit line. How did that come about? Tell us about you, your background. What gave you the desire to take such a big risk?
Sure. So I was actually born and raised in Montgomery County, Maryland. I come from a family of creatives. Both my parents are retired architects, and my dad was also a painter. He did acrylic oil paints. I grew up seeing these paintings and seeing him with his easel and his box of paint, and just being an artist definitely influenced me as a kid.
So creativity was really encouraged in your household as you were growing up.
Yeah, it was. So that was a huge influence on me growing up. In middle school, I would sketch out my outfits for the week, down to every detail. I would draw my hairstyle, the shoes I was going to wear, whether I was going to wear mascara or not. So, yeah, I loved planning. I loved sketching and drawing. So, yeah, as a kid, I definitely was interested and drawn into being an artist, I want to say.
So after high school, after graduating, you went to college, but it
Mhm.
just wasn't for you. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I think that it's important that you do so because so often we hear go to college, go to college, go to college, as if that's the only track that's going to bring about success in your life. And just kind of talk about what that felt like for you in school and how you had the courage to walk away and say, this is not for me.
Yeah. College was challenging for me, trying to find the right career um, path. And I think that, especially in this area that I grew up, um, there's a lot of pressure to abide by societal standards and kind of take the path that most people would take. And I think that entails a job that gives you like financial security, um, maybe like a doctor, a lawyer, um,
An
something.
architect.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. And I definitely felt that. I felt that from my parents. I felt that again in society, from friends, because I would hear them wanting to do um, those things. And so I tried nursing. Wasn't for me. I wasn't a huge science person, so definitely failed at that. I was into psychology, just because I definitely think the mind is so interesting, and the interaction that people have and how the brain works. But I still didn't feel that connect in school and felt kind of stuck in a way. I would travel to the DR, the Dominican Republic, where my parents are from, in the summers. I think that's where it first started. And I first believed that I was drawn into swimwear and that kind of beach lifestyle. And so I would be living in a swimsuit all summer.
And I can tell that that is your true calling, because just even mentioning it, you lit up.
Yeah.
You connected, your eyes connected with the camera. You are all in. How did that conversation go with your parents to say, you know what, I've got to leave college? And did you already know as soon as I left, as soon as I leave college, I'm going right to design school? Or was there an evolution there?
Yeah, there was definitely a gap between
Okay.
that. I
Mhm.
did not know I was going to do design school. I think there was maybe about 2 years in between that where I was
Okay.
just working. Um, and let me tell you, my parents weren't a big fan of that, just dropping out of school. And I think a lot of that comes from being a first generation child.
Mhm.
My parents are from the Dominican Republic, and but I feel like the number one thing that immigrant parents want for their kids is to just be able to sustain and hold their own and be successful here in a new country. And so my mom was always saying, you need to get a degree. You need to have something to fall back on, um, that safety net.
Mhm.
Um, being an immigrant, coming from immigrant parents and being first gen and also being a woman.
Mhm.
So
How did you then decide, you know, I'm going to take the leap and I'm going to apply and see if I can get into design school?
yeah, well, I was having like little ideas here and there about Bayone, but it wasn't until I think um, the end of 2019, I was working as a receptionist. And I think one of my coworkers had told me she was in school and she was actually doing a certification program.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually wasn't accepted into Fashion Institute, but I just picked up one of their certificate programs, and we would meet once a week for about 4 hours. And I was able to work full time and also start my program. And my brother, he lived in New York. He's been living there for about 9 years.
Mhm.
And so it actually just worked out perfectly. I would go up on my 2 days off from work. So I was working
Okay.
full time and I would take the bus up to see him. I would go to my class for 3.5 hours, stay at his place, take the bus back home, and work a full week again. So,
So the Fashion Institute, now that's a big deal. You opted, instead of going seeking acceptance into the design program, you decided to do a certificate program. So why that? Why that choice?
yeah, I believe that I needed to find a way to get this knowledge and learn the technical aspect of designing swimwear and being able to utilize that information for my brand. And so I did what I had to do, and um, I figured out my coordinates where I would stay and how I'd make my way up there.
Why didn't
And
you apply directly to the program instead of opting to do a certificate program?
honestly, I didn't think I would be accepted.
Why is that?
Because my grades actually weren't the best in school. Um, I was never really a school person. Um, I think I did struggle a lot.
School was not really your thing. Grades were not great. You did not apply for acceptance into the design program because you felt that your grades would prohibit you from being accepted. But you found, for lack of a better word, a back door, and they have a
Yeah.
certificate program. And you decided, I'm working a full-time job, but hey, I've got this opportunity. My brother lives in New York. I'm going to travel back and forth for months to make this dream come true for yourself. And then the pandemic hit and that blew everything up. So tell me
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I was actually really upset because I was getting a little taste of New York once a week and I was loving it. Like I remember, I think it was like 3 days before everything shut down. I was having dinner with my brother and he had told me that because I was born and raised in Montgomery County and because I haven't left home, that he was one really proud of me for coming up and doing my thing, grinding, hustling so I can, follow my dreams. But he was like, you need to go out there. You need to go out there and see the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much to see. And him living in New York, I think for about 10 years, I trust him saying that because New York
Mm-hmm.
City is like one of the best cities in the world, they say. So
In our conversation, we've kind of talked a little bit about Montgomery County, and I live in Maryland. I'm familiar with Montgomery County. That in Montgomery County, it's very diverse. You have people from all over the world there.
yeah, I think there's a sense of comfortability here.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to offer here. They have I want to say the perfect suburban home, white picket fence houses almost. There's so much good food to eat, like you said, diversity,
Mm-hmm.
lots of opportunity here. But I think because of that, there's a sense of complacency.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely realized that growing older. I definitely see myself branching out and eventually leaving here. I think there's so much more to just this little town.
All right, so let me ask you this. There are a lot of swimwear and luxury poolside apparel out there. What makes you different?
Yeah, ANA is a sustainable brand, apart from it being a small business. And that means leaving the smallest environmental impact possible as a brand.
And why is that important to you?
Well, I think that we look up to a lot of brands that don't have transparency with their customers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a lot that goes behind the scenes that we don't see. And that can consist of unethical labor, sweatshops.
Mm-hmm.
And I just definitely wanted to do something to work against that and combat that in the fashion industry.
I think it's so fantastic that you have a sustainable brand. So both for your swimwear as well as your scarf collection. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. I think sustainability was something I really wanted to incorporate into my brand. So I did do a lot of research on that prior to launching. I do want to start with that every piece in my collection is handmade to eliminate waste fabric. You see the larger swimwear brands, corporations that make in bulk. They produce in bulk and it's a lot of the time too much. And you'll see them sitting on the sale rack for a really long time. And after that, they're thrown away. And I definitely wanted to combat that and work against that. And so I think it was perfect for me to set up my little workshop here in my room and be able to hand cut my pieces, pick out the fabrics, and be able to work more towards a sustainable brand.
So tell me the difference between how do you go from swimwear to scarves?
Yeah, well, I will say scarves was a very sporadic choice for me.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do swimwear, like I said, and I think I just did want to incorporate accessories into my brand, and I thought scarves were the perfect versatile choice. And I think I just saw it on Instagram, to be honest. I think I saw someone wearing a really cute scarf, and I was like, wow, I think you could do so much with that. And
Okay.
I would love to design a piece similar. And so that's what happened.
Okay. I love your willingness to take a chance and to just put yourself out there, even though it's difficult. What was your journey like moving from being in school every day and accountable to others to kind of being your own boss?
Biggest thing for me is time management.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that when people think about working for themselves and being self-employed, that it's going to be a breeze, you know, and you'll be able to just do what you want when you want and get to it whenever. But it's the opposite. It really is.
Right.
I think the biggest surprise for me as a entrepreneur is the work that you have to take on. And it might be overwhelming at first. And it still is for me, but I'm definitely learning to manage my time and be able to be productive and get things done, but not at the cost of, you know, my sanity. I'm learning to balance that.
What do you think your next step is? We're still in the midst of this pandemic. Your program is closed down. Have they given you any indication as to whether or not you'll be able to go back to class? And then how have you been able to sustain yourself and continue learning and growing?
Yeah, I actually am super eager to get back to my program. They were offering online classes, but because my certification class is such a hands-on um, and just you need to be there and really try things yourself type of work, that it wasn't offered. And so I do hope to be back there in the fall time. And to keep myself busy, I have a business to run. So
Right.
I'm actually launching my first swimwear collection on March 8th,
Oh,
the Celestial collection.
Celestial collection. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
How many
super excited.
how many pieces will be in the collection?
I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 pieces.
9 pieces. All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm really excited. The
Yeah.
celestial. So, I have this thing about names. I'm always curious as to why people choose the names that they choose for their businesses. So, first thing, why did you choose the name for your business, Bayone? And then two, the celestial collection. Talk about that.
Sure. So Bayonet does stem from my last name,
Mm-hmm.
Bayonet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just like the ring to it. I did drop the T, and it does have a kind of like a French sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did want to also leave it so that it's not Bayonet Swim or Bayonet Apparel. I wanted it to be broad enough that if I do ever want to branch out,
Mm-hmm.
I would be able to. I'm thinking maybe in a few years I can, I don't know, start a winery somewhere or something. So that would be nice.
So I like that because you're not putting yourself in a box. You're not pigeonholing yourself. You're saying, the sky's the limit. You're taking your brother's advice. He said there's a whole wide world out there. Go see it, go after it. So good for you. All right. So Celestial, for your first swimwear line, where did that name come from?
So I actually got inspired on Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
That is a platform where artists and able to showcase their work online. And I came across this beautiful collection online. It was a vintage fashion brand from, I believe, the 80s. And their whole theme was just clouds and the sky. And they had beautiful blue shades of turquoise, I want to say. And that was a huge inspiration for me. The name, I think it just kind of ties it all together. Celestial, relating to sky and the clouds. But that was
the limit.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly.
The sky's the limit. So who is your ideal customer?
Good question. So I actually have a dual concept for my brand, on trend and contemporary. On trend does typically have more, I want to say, obviously trendier and maybe skimpier fits. Whereas contemporary will give you more of that coverage and support that people do search for when they're looking for swimwear. I do have a lot of experience. I was a swimwear stylist, and I had ladies come in searching for the best suit for them. And I saw that it was such a challenge, and it was very almost emotional experience for them, trying to find the right suit. I thought it was super important to reach out to a larger audience and be able to cater to all sizes and all ages. And so, to answer your question, I do believe that my swimwear brand can cater to maybe a young girl just graduated from high school, 18 years old, and maybe wants to show off her body a little bit, or a mother who still wants to feel good and feel confident and carry herself with dignity. And she'll be able to find that too.
All right. So 2020 was a really difficult year for all of us, and especially for small business owners. But you started your business during COVID. So why was it in the middle of a pandemic? Why did you feel that that was the ideal time for you to launch?
Yeah, I think it was the best time in my eyes. Just having the time and the opportunity, I want to say financially. I will say when I lost my job, I was able to receive unemployment, and that did help me financially in a lot of ways, as you can imagine. And I wanted to take that risk and follow the dream that I've been having. I think there was no better time. I think that this was almost like everything aligning for this moment. And I was like, this is what I need to do. I've been
celestial moment.
Yeah.
Everything aligned, all the stars aligned, right?
Exactly.
I think that's really important, though, that you mentioned that you lost your job, your certification program was on pause, you're in this state of flux, but you said, all right, I'm going to take the few resources that I have and I'm going to make this happen, because you were that invested, you were that passionate, and you believe that much in yourself and in your vision and what has been given to you for your destiny to move forward. The name of this podcast is Let Me Say This. So I always ask all of my guests as our last question to frame it like this: let me say this, and then whatever advice, thought, comment that you have for aspiring or upcoming entrepreneurs. So, all right, Ambar Bayonet, here's your chance. Let me say this. What are you going to say?
Let me say this. I believe that if you have a dream, you should go for it, no matter how far-fetched and what obstacles stand in your way. I think with determination and the right support group around you, that you will be able to reach that, and your dreams will come true.
Awesome. Sick. Um, let's talk a little bit about the isolation during a pandemic. And how have you been able to combat that? Because you're no longer going to New York to school, but yet you're still designing, you're still being creative. So how has that been for you?
Yeah, it's been challenging for sure.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like I found a lot of inspiration um, from other people, I want to say.
Mhm.
And that, being taken away from me through this pandemic has been really difficult. And I had to use the resources that were around me online and do a lot of research online on how to, one, design swimwear, sew swimwear. Um, if I had any questions about sustainability, because I'm still learning every day.
Mhm.
And so I stumbled across this page on Facebook specifically for swimwear DIYers and
Mhm.
people who want to sew swimwear themselves. And I'm so grateful for it.
Mhm.
I found so many amazing people on there who are so inspiring, and just seeing their work pushes me and makes me want to do better. And that's been a huge support for me. I also want to say that it's a great way for me to connect with other brands too, because
Mhm.
there are other people who have their small business swimwear lines, and I've been able to connect with them on social media and find inspiration and help each other out in that way. So that has been really great for me.
Thank you so much, Amber Bayonet. Question for you. So people want to reach out to you, they want to connect with you, they want to purchase some of your product. How do they connect with you?
Yep, you can go on my website, bayonetonline.com. Instagram is the same, Bayone Online, and same with Facebook. I tried to be consistent across all of them. So
Consistency is key. That's what when I'm doing entrepreneurship coaching and training, I'm always telling people that stay consistent. And that's
it's
Bayonet,
important. ONE.
Bayonet. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Bayonet.com, Bayonet.com on Facebook, Instagram, as well as her website, www.bayonet.com. All right, Amber Bayonet, owner and entrepreneur of Bayonne. Is it luxury swimwear or swimwear? What is the official name?
Yes. Luxury swimwear. So let's say Bayone Online. We have premium handmade swimwear and luxury accessories.
Premium handmade swimwear and luxury accessories. All right. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Take care. God bless. And thanks for being my guest this evening. So you
Thank
will be
you.
able to catch a new episode of Let Me Say This every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook as well as Instagram. I'm Tisha Tyler, the Practical Entrepreneur. You can always connect with me on Facebook at the Practical Biz Coach, Instagram Tisha R Tyler, or on my YouTube channel, The Practical Entrepreneur Tisha Tyler. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. God bless.